Good morning, YouTube. The LX has always been a unique offering in the large luxury SUV class, since its Land Cruiser bones give it off-road chops that none of the rivals, except Land Rover, can touch. For 2019, Lexus is not messing with that core formula, instead opting to add a few refinements instead. Special thanks to our friends at Lexus of Lexington for providing this fully loaded LX 570 in atomic silver. And if you're in the market for any new Lexus, be sure to visit them physically or via their web address, which we provided a link to in the video description. There's a lot of new competition on the block, so let's go ahead and see if the LX can still stand out. So starting out with the exterior styling, the LX continues for 2019 with the same assertive design. Coming down the road, you're definitely not going to mistake this for anything other than a Lexus, with a huge spindle grille dominating almost the entire front. In the area left over, you have very extravagant looking triple beam full LED headlights. They are made from 3 main crystals, with the signature arrowhead daytime running lights and turn signals encompassing them. You do also have headlamp washers, and down below, LED fog lights. Checking out the side, the LX measures in at 199.4 inches long, which is below the Escalade, Navigator, and QX80. But one thing none of those SUVs offer is the LX's 3-mode air suspension, which gives it a very comfortable ride and affords it advantages off-road. And as we move to the rear, you can see a little bit of influence from its Land Cruiser brother, but just in the overall shape. The details are much more luxurious, like the full LED taillights with chrome outline, and the separated LED reverse lights added last year. So overall, the LX's exterior definitely delivers the bold and eye-catching looks that people shopping in this segment demand. Another attention-grabbing element are these contrast-designed 21-inch alloy wheels, which are available as a standalone $745 option. I've never seen one without that option, but if you do find one, it would have 20-inch web-design alloy wheels instead. Moving up to the mirrors, they have all the goodies you'd expect, like heating, power folding, auto-dimming, and blind spot monitoring. Additionally, new for 2019 is a projection puddle lamp that projects either a Lexus emblem or an LX emblem with the luxury package. Now, since this vehicle basically comes fully loaded right off the bat, it's not surprising that you have all the safety systems standard. They include pre-collision braking with pedestrian detection, lane departure alert with steering assist, dynamic radar cruise control, and automatic high beam headlights. And that's in addition to the blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic alert that I already mentioned. Going back around to the rear, you have a full-size spare tire and a tow rating of 7,000 pounds with the standard Class 4 hitch. That does fall behind rivals like the Escalade and Range Rover. The last place we'll finish on the outside is at the fuel tank. It measures in at 24.6 gallons. Good for 369 miles of range on premium unleaded fuel. But more important than the exterior on a flagship vehicle is having a world-class cabin. So let's see if the LX delivers. So of course the LX does have standard smart entry as well as the typical Lexus key fob. You can also remote start the vehicle free for 1 year through the Lexus Enform app. Now to get inside the vehicle, there is a sensor behind the handle, so you just grab it. And you will also see the mirrors fold out. So checking out the interior of the 2019 LX. As you can tell, it continues to have a really rich appearance. So naturally, since this is a flagship model, you do have a lot of different interior options. So for the base model, if you want to call it that, you have black or parchment real leather to choose from. And then going up to this model's luxury package unlocks the options of parchment with open pore walnut wood, black with dark brown walnut, or my personal favorite, this Cabernet with linear espresso wood. As you can see, this is really beautiful and a unique touch that a lot of the rivals don't have. Now turn to the door trim. It is very gorgeous. You've got more of that Cabernet leather covering almost the entire thing, as well as leather that goes all through up here. You also have got some linear espresso wood and a real aluminum door handle. Of course, as you would expect, all four of your windows are one-touch automatic, as well as your 3-person memory seats being standard on all LXs. Coming to your seats, they are 14-way power adjusting across the board, including your power thigh extension. However, my personal favorite part of the entire cabin have got to be these seats. This semi-aniline leather is some of the finest I've ever felt in any vehicle. Plus it just looks really cool, finished in this dark red. All LXs do have power running boards as well as an assist grip, so getting in is pretty easy. So this is the 4th time I've been in the LX since its refresh in 2016, and I have to say the cabin still impresses me to this day. All of your upper dash is made from a soft touch plastic with stitching, whereas some of your rivals do have leather up here. However, almost everything else is covered in more soft and supple leather. Through the middle, you have a big chunk of that linear espresso wood, as well as a layer of real aluminum trim. And then, like I said, all of your lower areas are still covered in really nice leather with color contrast stitching. Now coming up here to your button, this is one of your 2019 changes, which is you now have a full aluminum button like the LS and ES versus the plastic one you used to have before. One thing that has not changed is this 12.3-inch high-definition display being standard on all LSs. So looking at the gauges, they continue to have the same clean and classy design. However, there is one difference from 2018, and that's that you now have a digital clock right there. But beyond that, it does all the standard affair of things in the 4.2-inch multifunction display, including your safety systems, navigation, and whatnot. In addition to that, we also have the optional heads-up display. Now it's a little hard to see because it's dim. However, you can turn up the brightness, and it would include things like your navigation, like safety systems, speed limits, etc. Now coming back to the steering wheel, this actually has old school hydraulic power steering. And this leather wrapped wheel is standard across all trims, and you do have wood chunks along the top and the bottom. As far as your buttons, it does have the standard affair stuff for your audio, phone, and voice controls. And then on this side, you've got your controls for your multifunction display, as well as your adaptive cruise control. Back behind the shifter, we have painted silver plastic paddle shifters, and we also have rain-sensing wipers standard across the board. Naturally, the wheel itself is power tilt and telescoping, as well as heated. Now this car has a lot of buttons everywhere. So over here we've got a panel of buttons. This is for your cleaning your windshield wipers, turning on and off your heads-up display. And I'd really appreciate if someone would tell me what this button means, because I've been trying to figure that out over the last 4 times I've been in this vehicle, and I've never figured it out. You also have a little coin tray as well. Now moving on to storage, the LX does a pretty decent job compared to rivals. Starting out here with our center console. Does come in 2 tiers, so you start off with this tray and you just pull this out. Then you have a deep bin that goes down here. Now none of this is felt lined, however this can also be optioned to be a cool box. We don't have that though. Up in front of that, we've got 2 cup holders hidden underneath the wood. And then in addition to that, you've got a little tray right here with the optional Qi wireless charging pad. So you just turn that on, and then you slide your phone in. Just be aware that depending on what type of phone you have, like mine, it doesn't really fit very well. It could be a tight fit. And you do also have a couple of charging USB ports as well as an aux jack and a 12-volt outlet. Now moving back to the shifter here, this is just a traditional gated shifter. Push to the left to shift manually, and you can use those paddle shifters I pointed out earlier. When we go into reverse, every LX does come standard with a 360-degree bird's eye camera with active trajectory, as well as front and rear parking sensors. Now we can click down over here to switch into a traditional view or back to both the regular and 360 view side by side. The mirrors do tilt down when in reverse to help you see the parking lines better as well. Up in front of that, we've got electronic parking brake. And then back behind the shifter, we have an insane amount of buttons. So like I've already mentioned, this of course shares its foundation with the Land Cruiser, which means it's got all the off-road functions. Now I'm not going to tell you what every individual one does, however I will point out the main ones. So you've got your off-roading modes right here, your standard drive modes right here, then you've got your 4-wheel drive, and this controls the air suspension settings. Off to the side of that, you've got 3 more buttons. This is for your automatic 3-stage heated, 3-stage ventilated seats, as well as your heated steering wheel. The one last thing on the center console is this floating island here for your Lexus remote touch controller. Now next up, we've got the climate controls. They are 4-zone automatic across all the trims. However, there is an option called Climate Concierge, and that comes in the luxury package. Now what this does, basically all the climate functions, it controls them automatically based on a lot of different factors, including like which side of the vehicle the sun is shining on and stuff like that. So it's a really neat system. Now that brings us to our audio system. So we've got the optional 450 watt 19 speaker Mark Levinson sound system as opposed to the standard 9 speaker one. So let's go ahead and take a listen. As you can probably tell, this is an awesome sounding sound system. My only complaint is they could make the speaker grills look a little prettier. But regardless of that, that now brings us to the 12.3-inch Lexus Enform system. Now we're running a little bit short on battery here, so I'm going to skip this part of the video because there have been no changes to the Enform system. It's still the older style software this year, so we don't have Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. However, we do have the addition of Amazon Alexa this year. But other than that, there are no changes. Now moving on up, we do have an auto dimming mirror with 3 home link universal remotes on the bottom and the frameless design. And then up top you have touch capacitive LED lighting. Additionally, like all Lexus models, Safety Connect is now standard for 10 years for free. And then obviously a power moonroof is standard equipment across all models. You do not have the option of a panoramic one. However, this one does open nice and big, and you do have a windscreen. So overall, I just continue to be really impressed by the LX's interior. The price may be high, but it is indeed super luxurious in here, pretty high tech, and then in addition, you've got all the off-road features that a lot of the rivals just simply don't offer. So overall, really impressive. Now I'll go ahead and hand it off to Mason to check out all the rear areas. So of course on the rear door trim of the LX you have really nice materials. You do have some more of that Cabernet leather where your arm will rest with stitching, as well as above it. Then you do have some wood trim and some silver accenting. Above that you do have rear window sunshades, which is a nice touch, and of course your window is fully automatic. Down below that you do have plenty of door storage. Now as far as rear space is concerned in the LX, you're going to find 36 inches of legroom and 38.9 inches of headroom. That places it quite a bit behind some of its rivals, but it's not bad overall. The seats are a beautiful leather design. The semi-aniline leather is to die for. And uniquely, the LX does have a power adjusting rear seat, which I've never seen on any other vehicle. So you can push this and slide it forward and back to give the third row more room or less room. You do have integrated running boards, and you do have an assist grip to get in. In the middle, of course, you will find some air vents on all models, and it is 4-zone automatic on the luxury package, which I'll show you the controls in just a minute. Down below that, you do have some wood trim, and you do also have a 12-volt power outlet, although you don't have any USB ports or any of the modern connections. But the armrest is the real control center for the LX. So like I said, you do have 4-zone climate control, so each rear passenger can adjust their temperature, zones, and fan speeds. You can also put it in an automatic mode. Additionally, as a part of the luxury package, we do have heated and ventilated rear seats, which is an extreme luxury touch, and they are automatic as well. Back here you do have a little storage area, pretty shallow, but can store a few things back there. And up top you do have some LED lighting, as well as a really premium headliner and some more vents. Now the seat is adjusted for Drew's 5'8" driving position, and I'm 5'9", and I have I'd say about 8 inches of leg room. And my feet, they really can't slide up under the seat, which is a little bad for a car like this, but it's not too bad. And sliding over the seat all the way back, I have pretty similar leg room, probably about 4 inches. So overall, my opinion of the LX rear seat is that it's a fantastic place to spend time. It is lacking a few of the modern luxuries like the pano moonroof and some connections back here, but this is luxury at its finest. These seats are extremely comfortable, semi-aniline leather, as well as heated and ventilated. I did forget to mention that our model does not have one, but there is a rear seat entertainment system that would give you each 10.2-inch screens on each of the seat backs. Normally we do have this feature, but we're lacking that this year. It's about a $2,000 option. And to get into the third row, you just grab this handle. Lexus has made it easy. Just grab this handle, and in one motion it will slide up and out of the way. Now in the third row, you're not going to find too much space. This is smaller compared to some of its rivals, but it's decent overall. So let's go ahead and get back there and see what it's like for an adult. So it's worth noting that these rear seats are slid all the way back, and you do have about 1 inch of leg room. My feet can't slide up under the seat back here either. But Lexus does give you 2 cup holders on each side, as well as an assist grip and some more air vents. And thigh support, it's not the best once again, but this isn't a bad third row if you want to haul around some kids on occasion. This is definitely not a usable third row. Alright, so around at the tailgate, this is probably one of the most unique features about the LX. It actually has a two-part opening tailgate. So all you have to do is find this button under the trunk lid, and it will open the top portion. Now this portion is power, and this is what you do if you wanted to load in like groceries or anything like that, because you don't need this bottom portion open. Now if you want to tailgate, or if you need to get something really big in, you just grab this little handle and it will fold this part. It is dampened, and this provides like a nice seat for tailgating or anything like that. But as far as space is concerned, you're going to find 16 cubic feet behind the third row seats, expanding to 43 cubic feet if you fold them, and 81 cubic feet behind the first row seats. So once again, that does place it a little smaller than some of its rivals, and it is worth noting that there is not an extended wheelbase version like there is for an Escalade or a Navigator. But to fold the third row, you do have power folding abilities, of course. So you just grab these buttons and you can fold them easily. They fold in one motion. And to fold them up, you just push that same button again. And also unique, they fold like to the side. Now if you don't close it fully, it will suck back in. Soft closing abilities. And this part is power as well. So. We will discuss the pricing here in a bit. You have a beautiful Cabernet seat on the passenger side as well. And it is the same adjustment as the driver's. You have lumbar support, and you do have some nice scuff plates. And inside you are going to find plenty of space, although it is not felt lined. For your sun visor, it does have an LED light on the side, as well as a mirror. And of course you can detach it, and it does have an extension as well. Well guys, that pretty much wraps up what I have to cover up here, so let's go ahead and talk about the powertrain. So under the hood, Lexus keeps things pretty simple. All models will come with a 5.7 liter V8, producing 383 horsepower and 403 pound-feet of torque. From there you have an 8-speed automatic transmission and full-time 4-wheel drive on all models. Of course that system is very capable, since it has a Torsen limited slip center locking differential. However, that focus on capability does produce one drawback, and that's the fuel economy. For 2019, it continues to be rated at 13 city, 18 highway, 15 combined. And that is pretty much it under the hood. Well guys, we hope you enjoyed watching the first in-depth look at the 2019 Lexus LX 570. Stay watching for a quick look at the pricing, and don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons below. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.